Hey guys, Julian here. Thank you for joining us on this live stream. I'm joined by Berkey, and we are here to celebrate the release of the RØDECaster Pro II.
That's
Berkey,
right.
we are here.
I know, this day, it feels like it's taken so long to get here. I am excited, Jules.
What
I
a
cannot
journey.
wait to get the RØDECaster Pro II out there in the world, in the wild.
Obviously, we've been fairly involved with the product, so it's going to be fascinating to see how everyone else reacts to it, how people use it in their different setups and scenarios. So super interesting.
Yeah, I mean, there's already been a lot of conversation online about the RØDECaster Pro II. We cannot wait until you guys get it into your hands and start playing around with it. It is seriously an amazing piece of gear. And what it will do for your setup, whether you're a musician, a live streamer, a gamer, a podcaster, is absolutely amazing.
So today we are going to be talking about the product, so chatting a little bit about the RCP2 and just nerding out. We're also going to count down to the release of the actual firmware the time that will go out to users. And then also we're going to answer a couple of FAQs. So if you have any questions, dump them in the comment section here, and we'll get to a few of those at the end of this live stream. So
that's right. So Jules, why don't we talk about what actually happens in exactly 8 minutes and 1 second?
Oh my God. Okay, so if we switch down to the computer screen here, you can see the timer. We are sitting at about 7 minutes and 51 seconds. Super exciting. Once that ticks off, Rode Central version 2.0.0 is going to be available. And what that is that's a companion app that you can use for the RØDECaster Pro II to download firmware updates and configure your unit. But not only that, we're going to be dropping, of course, the RØDECaster Pro II. Can you tell the good folks at home what you can do with that? Or where you
sure.
can get it?
So basically what's going to happen at the launch is the RØDECaster Pro II will begin shipping. So I know a lot of you already have pre-orders in place. The second that it goes live, your dealer will be shipping your pre-order, and you should be getting a shiny new RØDECaster Pro II in hand.
So shiny.
If you've been waiting out for the launch, you can go down to your local Rode dealer and pick one up off the shelf. They should be loaded onto shelves right about now. And if you happen to be one of those very sneaky folks that somehow got your hands on one, you can load up the latest firmware update, which will bring your RØDECaster Pro II to life. So very exciting.
Yes. Quick reminder, if you did want to download the update for your RØDECaster Pro II and make that usable for you at home, all you need to do is either sit tight, connect it to the internet, and that will tick over. So you can download and install that update directly to your RØDECaster Pro II.
That's right.
Or you can download version 2.0.0 of Rode Central, which is going to be active in about 8 minutes time. And that will be another way that you can actually download the firmware update for the RØDECaster Pro II as well.
That's right. So that's one of the amazing things about the RØDECaster Pro II is the fact that you can actually update the unit on the unit itself. Now, anyone who had the original RØDECaster Pro would know that over the life of the product, it evolved in amazing ways to have loads of different features that it didn't have at launch. And with the RØDECaster Pro II, we wanted to make that even easier to be able to actually load that up. So you simply connect it either via the Ethernet port on the back, or even using the onboard Wi-Fi on the RØDECaster Pro II, you can connect it to the internet. And then the unit itself, once it's online, will automatically check for updates, download and install the updates by itself if you just tap on download an update on the unit. So it's actually pretty amazing. And then, as Jules mentioned, you can actually use the Rode Central companion app to do that as well if you like. So,
yes.
Jules, why don't we go through some of our favorite features of the RØDECaster Pro II?
Actually, funny you should mention the Rode Central app. Let me just open it up here. So the Rode Central app is, of course, we're recording in progress at the moment. So if you hit record on that unit there and stop the recording so I can do a couple of editing with the
I've got that paused right now. So if I press and hold, I can stop the recording.
Perfect. Thank you for that. So you can see I've got a couple of different options that I can use to configure the RØDECaster Pro II. We have special access to version 1.0.0. And we're going to be jumping into some of the settings here. What you can do is change the audio setup, change the the microphone configuration. I'm not going to move anything around too much now just because we're recording at the moment.
Sensible.
But what you can also do, which is pretty funky, is change the colors of the units in every single channel. So
if we can switch to the top-down cam as Jules actually moves that slider, you can see that you can actually adjust the colors live, even from the Rode Central app. Now, what's important to know as well is you can do all of that even just from the unit. You don't even have to connect it, but
yes,
having that, kind of additional access from the app is actually really handy.
Super powerful. And if you're the kind of person who likes to do your work in the box, really helpful if you want to just jump in, make a few changes, make a few adjustments, and through the power of digital connection, you can do all those changes and functions there. Not only with that, you can actually stereo link different inputs as well, which is really cool. Device configuration, you can change the brightness, you can adjust the haptics, you can change the metering, all sorts of things that are super, super powerful, that are really handy. Not only that, you can actually affect the smart pads as well, change the stuff that's on those actual smart pads, what they actually do, how they function, and then transfer recordings as well. So if you've got podcasts stored on your micro SD card there, you can transfer that across to your computer super, super quick. So
that's right. Yeah, one of the things with the RØDECaster Pro II is that it has a super fast card reader on board as well. So there's really no need to ever remove the micro SD card. If you plug it into your computer, it is as fast as the fastest card readers available. So you can do your transfer at lightning speed.
Lightning speed. All right, Berkey, tell me about one of your other favorite things about the RØDECaster Pro II, since we're nerding out here.
All right, since we're nerding out and we are audio nerds, my favorite thing about the RØDECaster Pro II is actually the preamps. They are incredible. The pre's on the unit are insanely quiet, which is really important. You can get preamps that give you loads of gain, but if they have a lot of self-noise, it doesn't do anything for you. You're just increasing the noise of your signal. Whereas with the RØDECaster Pro II pre's, they're very quiet and they give you heaps of gain. So no matter what you're plugging into it, you can always get a really clean signal, which is something that, is actually pretty amazing about this unit.
The double threat. And I know that's a huge issue with a lot of people out there who, want to add effects and stuff to their recording chain. And if you start with a dirty pre, you're only going to get so far. So
that's right.
Yeah.
One of my other favorite things kind of linked to that is the actual audio setup. It's so easy. I'm going to do channel 3 here since we're actually talking on channel 1 and 2. But basically, to set it up is so simple. You just go through the menu here. You can choose your input source. You could even choose a line input or an instrument. So if you're a musician, I'm a musician. I like to plug an acoustic guitar in and do some recording at home.
Nice.
I can use the RØDECaster Pro II as literally the cleanest pre that I will have in my studio. And I've got 4 separate combo inputs on that unit. So it's really cool. And then once you set that up, what it's doing is it's automatically toggling a gain level that makes sense for the type of microphone you're using, whether it's a dynamic mic or a condenser. And then you have this really simple VoxLab audio setup where you can go through 3 different settings, depth, sparkle, or punch, to be able to set an audio setting that sounds great on your voice. Now, we've already set up channel 1 and 2 here, and we're using the advanced processing. But if you're on the simple processing mode, it's a really easy way to just dial up 3 different settings and it'll control your compressor, your EQ, your noise gate, your DSO, all of that stuff for you. And then if you do want to make some tweaks, you just tap on the advanced button and suddenly you can go in and dive right into those different settings like your high pass filter, your DSO, your noise gate, your compressor, your EQ, your Faqs, oral exciter and big bottom. Super powerful and more importantly, super simple.
Super simple. And that's we're writing that paradox, right? It's super powerful but simple at the same time,
yes.
Which is really, believe me, that's like a difficult thing for the designers to be able to do. So they did a fantastic job. Hey, one of my favorite things, before we get there.
Time check, we've only got 55 seconds. Jules, what is your favorite thing about this?
I love the accessories on the RØDECaster Pro II. So there's a bunch available that are going to be launching at the same time. One of those is the Rode Cover 2, which we've got around here somewhere.
Yeah, I think we've stashed it under the table there.
Boom. Beautiful. So
now,
if you're not using it,
a dust-free RØDECaster Pro,
yes.
When you're not using the unit, or even when you are using the unit, you don't want anyone to touch it.
Yep.
You can put a Rode Cover Pro II on top of the unit.
Which is ironic seeing how dusty that Rode Cover 2 is.
Hey, that's exactly
doing
what
its job.
It's doing the job. All of that dust would have been on our RØDECaster Pro II.
And I prefer my RØDECaster Pro IIs dustless.
Now, Jules, we only have 17 seconds left, so we're going to have to get to all the other accessories in a moment.
We have literally 12 seconds here. We're doing the countdown, guys. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, get ready, 2, 1.
Woo! All right, we have launched the RØDECaster Pro II.
We got liftoff.
It's live. We've got liftoff. All right.
Feels good.
It does feel good,
RØDECaster Pro
guys.
II is out there. Get it.
Jump online, download Rode Central version 2. I'm covered in confetti now. This is oh, we should have had the cover on it so that we could,
do we keep the confetti off the
it's the
RØDECaster?
confetti cover.
Actually, let's jump into the other ones. There are also backpacks available for the RØDECaster Pro II. So those are going to be coming at some point later on down the line.
Jules, right behind you, why don't you show the fine folks the RØDECaster backpack and shoulder bag. So check this out. Something that we will have available very shortly is this fine Rode backpack, which actually gives you the ability to store your RØDECaster Pro safely. So whether you have a RØDECaster Pro version 1 or version 2, we actually have the ability to strap it into the bag. You can mount up your PSA-1 boom arms. You can put your DS1 desk stands, your microphones, your cables, everything all into the one backpack.
Very true.
It looks cool, it's comfortable, and it will keep your RØDECaster Pro set up in one place and safe.
Plus, it's super stylish. Plus, we got the messenger bag as well, which is going to be coming around the same time. That, of course, is a little bit smaller, but you'll be able to hold basically everything that you need for a 1 or a 2-person podcast, which is really cool.
We have our RØDECaster Pro II mounted in there. You can actually adjust the positions. You can make the pocket a little bit larger as well if you have a RØDECaster Pro original.
Very true.
And what else do we have, Jules, in new accessories?
We got so many other ones. So we got the Vaser mount, which is also another ball-mounted connector that enables you to...
Right behind you.
Don't tell me there's one behind me.
There is one behind you. I stashed it there when you weren't looking.
Here you go. So you got a connector on the back, Vaser mount, your standard Vaser connection. So you can actually connect that to one of your extender on your desk, so you can keep it off your desk and allow yourself a bit more space in your setup. Not only that, it can actually connect to any type of microphone stand, especially if you have a thread adapter by Rode. Look that up, TOR.
Yeah. Now, one of the really cool things about this is that, something that we hear all the time, especially in live streaming setups, is that desk real estate is some of the most precious real estate available. You don't want to have loads of things sitting on top of your desk. And having the Vaser mount, you can mount it on a standard monitor arm, if you like, and get it off your desk and out of the way. Or if you use this actual Vaser mount adapter, as Jules mentioned, you can get it onto a mic stand. And what's really cool about this is that the RØDECaster Pro II is actually amazing even for live performance. So if you're like a singer-songwriter playing at the local cafe, you can have your RØDECaster Pro II mounted on this stand right next to you, have all of your gear running into it, record it, live stream it, even using your phone if you have the Rode SC19 adapter to go into USB 2. It's amazing what you can do with it. So check it out. That will be launching very soon. You heard it here first. So Jules, why don't we get to a couple of FAQs?
Yes, we have some FAQs from some of the folks in the chat, which is nice. We could just grab that on the chat here. Thank you. Our friend Sam in socials helping us out behind the scenes.
That's right. Why don't we get to, before our questions start posting up in the chat here, why don't we get to some of the questions that you've noticed just on socials just and popping up, Julian?
So some of the ones that people are talking about at the moment include things like, your basic questions about the capabilities of the unit. So how many sounds can be simultaneously stored on the unit at the one time. That particular question has been floating around a fair bit. And the answer to that is 64 in total. Now, you could have 64 sounds stored on every single one of those smart pads, but of course, they're not just sound pads. Of course, they're smart pads as well. You can, activate MIDI commands. You can, do mixer actions like, fade in and fade outs, and do stuff like, ducking and other functions. So there really are like a lot more than just sounds. So
yeah, why don't we do a lightning
64
fast
as well?
Why don't we do a lightning fast demo of how that works?
Well, this is the thing, like you can actually load up sounds into this thing super quick. So yeah, I'm down for this. Let's go.
All right. So for instance, on the home screen right now, I can see all of my different sounds. So if I, again, wanted to play the applause for the RØDECaster Pro II launch, I can do that. I can fade it out, stop the sound. But if I jump to page 2, I don't have anything loaded on that. So I can just tap on an empty smart pad and I can choose whether I want a sound, whether I want a voice effect, whether I want mixer actions, as you mentioned, like a global fade in, fade out, like a little bleep button so that I can bleep out any audio, all that kind of stuff. But why don't we go and create a sound even on the unit? So Jules, do you have something in mind to make a sound?
Yes, let's go.
All right, ready?
RCP2 launch party.
And just like that, we literally
RCP2 launch party.
just created a sound.
Pops and
A
all.
questionable one. Now let's adjust that sound. So I can get the top and tail of the sound if I like. I can actually select it. I can fade it in. I can fade it out. I can even trim the start of that recording so that it will play immediately. Or even if I wanted to knock a word off the start of the sound or something like that,
RCP2
so that it
launch
plays
party.
immediately. Now, another thing I can do is change the toggle mode so that it's a one shot, press and hold to play, a toggle. I can have it in replay mode or continue mode. So even if I wanted to have it start stop like that, I can do that in toggle mode. I can press and hold. I can have it as one shot.
RCP2 launch party.
And
Which
then we
is
go.
everything that you want in a smart pad.
That's
Maybe
right.
we can send this particular sound out to people. You can download it on the website.
I'm sure everyone can't wait to get the RCP2 launch party sound
RCP
effect.
launch party.
Next, we can jump into voice effects. We can even set up effects where, you can go into robot voice, pitch shift, all that kind of stuff. So even, for instance, if I wanted to dive into any of these different settings, I can put a voice disguise mode on, and as soon as
I toggle that on, you can hear that my voice is now disguised.
But I'm going to turn that off just because I like to hear my voice just like this. Now, Jules, why don't you tell me one or two other things that you love about the... Actually, you know what we're doing? We're doing FAQs.
We're doing FAQs. Yeah,
we now have our chat live.
Yeah.
We have a question. Is there panning on the RØDECaster Pro II? The answer is...
It is yes. There is panning on the RØDECaster Pro II.
There's pan available on every single channel. So
yes.
I can go into my advanced processing mode here, tap on the pan button, and then I can pan a channel left or right. I can do that to any channel, whether it's a USB input, whether it's Bluetooth, whether it's a microphone. Every single channel has the ability to be panned left or right.
Super powerful. That was actually paired with that. Another one of the really common ones that people were talking about was EQ. People were really desperate to know if there was EQ on the unit. So you want to run us through that really quick?
I mean, let's just quickly dive through all of the different processes. So we've got a high pass filter. We can jump to a de-esser, which is basically, if I jump to the de-esser on my voice here, every time I do an S, you can see that it's actually taking it out so that you guys don't have to listen to a very harsh S on any sounds. And something I'm just demoing here is you could see that if I just press on the channel button, I'm controlling that same processor, but on a different channel. So it's really simple to jump through and do the same settings and setup on every single channel.
Perfect. So if I'm talking over here, you can jump over to my channel and control that if you need to.
That's
and
right.
Then when I stop talking, you can do yours.
Exactly. So next, what I can do is jump to the EQ. And just like you asked a moment ago, is there EQ available? Yes, there is. I can, control the high bell, the mid bell, the low bell, gain, everything that you need to be able to get a nice setting on your RØDECaster Pro. Let's get one more question before we wrap up the stream.
Yes,
Julian.
so we got one more. What is the EIN or equivalent input noise level of the Revolution preamps on the RØDECaster Pro II Berkey?
That is a great question. The EIN of the RØDECaster Pro II, that equivalent input noise level, which you measure by just using a resistor on the preamp, that's the way that you measure it, is negative 131.5 dBV, which is extremely low. It's about a dB and a half off the theoretical limit for how quiet you could make a pre. So pretty amazing.
Yeah. And I guess the follow-up question to that was, we've seen a lot on socials as well, is people talking about whether I need to use a FET head or, a cloud booster with your unit, and you really don't need to be using that with the unit. In fact, if you use one of those pieces of circuitry on the your signal chain, you're actually going to introduce a fair bit of noise to your signal. So,
yeah, and that's not to say anything bad about those units.
They're fine.
All of those kind of line boosters are actually fantastic bits of gear when you don't have a really killer preamp like you get with the Revolution Pre on the RØDECaster Pro II. And if you have one, I'm sure that you'll find uses for it in your studio and other applications. But if you use it with your RØDECaster Pro II, the noise of the circuit will actually increase. It is so quiet that you don't need any kind of line booster.
Truth.
All right, guys.
Well,
thank you so much for joining us at the RØDECaster Pro II live stream. If you've pre-ordered, get excited because your pre-order is about to arrive. If you haven't pre-ordered and you're considering a RØDECaster Pro II, duck down to your local Rode dealer and you will be able to see it there in the flesh, have a bit of a play around with it. And if you already have one in your hands, then download the firmware update, get Rode Central version 2, and start playing around and making some amazing content.
Yes, that's right. And if you want to master your RØDECaster Pro II, we've just dropped a bunch of user guide pages. So jump on and check out those on the RØDECaster Pro II website. And we got things on topics, everything from setting up your channels to exporting podcasts to setting up for a stream. All that stuff is there. So super helpful to get people to grips with the product and get them mastering this incredibly simple but powerful piece of machinery, which is good.
You could become a RØDECaster Pro II expert very quickly.
RØDECaster Pro II Pro.
A RØDECaster Pro II Pro. All right, guys, we're going to leave you with that. Until next time, happy recording.
See you guys.